So when you see me hawking the shit that we're selling, it's not just because I'm trying to make a buck, as I said in the last episode. This is going to fund the content. I love the band. I love hip hop. I've always loved it since I was 7 years old. Two Live Crew is what I was first exposed to as a 7-year-old. We had cable, and I was privileged enough to grow up in a middle class home with cable in my bedroom. So I was exposed to some stuff that probably shouldn't have, but it is what it is. So I love Two Live Crew initially, and there was other stuff that we got into, me and my cousins. Let's see, Sir Mix-a-Lot was another one as when we were kids. Death Row Records when I was like a tween. Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg. I'm a huge Snoop Dogg fan, especially the Death Row stuff. That's my all-time favorite stuff. But I'm digressing here because I haven't even fucking mentioned Wu-Tang. I stumbled upon Wu-Tang through a friend, Rob, and he got me into Wu-Tang. I believe it was him. My friend growing up, Keith, will probably tell me if I am correct on that or not, who got us into that. But I'm pretty sure it was Rob. Yeah, 36 Chambers, great album. Method Man, the single, when he went solo, he was the first one to go solo. Really big fan of those albums. Obviously, I haven't listened to every single one of them throughout the years and decades now. It was all the stuff in the 90s is really what I was into. I stopped paying attention to what was coming out or recent in hip-hop in the mid-2000s. I don't want to sound like an old man here, but fuck, it started just getting stale. Unfortunately, roast me if you want, disagree with me what you want, whatever, I don't care. I stopped paying attention because back in my day, what was on the radio is what we knew. It was a lot harder to get into the underground stuff, so that's what I kept my ear open to. And I mean, whatever, it is what it is. The 90s fucking were awesome when it came to hip-hop. There was so much variety that was actually popular on the radio, whereas starting with No Limit, I would say, it started dropping off in quality, in my opinion. Whatever, like I said, you can roast me if you want. No Limit sucks. I didn't like it. It was just repetitive. It wasn't creative. I mean, even as a Snoop Dogg fan, that album that he did was fucking garbage. It just was. And I honestly stopped paying attention to him too, briefly. Because of that, and then everyone just kind of followed suit in many ways. The music just became very simplistic. The people stopped rhyming. I mean, whatever. I may sound like a fucking old man at this point, but I mean, I was in my 20s at the time thinking that. So now in my 40s, back, my wife has reintroduced me to hip hop, and not that I stopped paying attention completely, but man, it just was hot garbage for a while. And a lot of what's on the radio now is that I've heard, the fucking mumble garbage is just, God, I fucking sound like an old man and I'm bitching, but fucking A, man, it just fucking sucks. But there's a lot of good shit out now. I mean, I got introduced to Run the Jewels late, and Killer Mike late, but man, that shit is fucking great. Love that stuff. And I wish I was paying attention in the mid-2000s, because there was a lot of good shit coming out. It just really wasn't on the radio. Like Immortal Technique, which is really good. And even Luda, I didn't pay attention to. Which, going back, I really should have. What I was mainly doing is just, listening to the stuff from the 90s and early 2000s, or just visiting albums of those artists, Ice Cube and the Wu-Tang Clan. You know, they were still making stuff, solo albums and stuff like that. That's basically all I paid attention to. None of the newer stuff. Ironically enough, it was right-wingers bitching about certain things that got me into the more younger people nowadays, like Cardi B and Lil Nas X. You know, if it wasn't for the right-wingers bitching about it, I wouldn't have known about it. And that's how I got stumbled into those artists. So, you know, if any right-winger people are listening to this, you know, stop bitching and people won't pay attention. That shit would have gone right over my head, and I wouldn't have known of Lil Nas X had y'all not fucking bitched about him. But thankfully you do, because then I was like, hey, who the fuck's this guy? You know? So anyway, same thing with WAP. You know, I really wasn't paying attention to Cardi B at all. I knew a little bit of her through an ex of mine who liked her, and I was like, yeah, she's okay. But you know, I explored her a little bit more when, you know, Ben Shapiro was bitching about WAP, and you know, the fact that he can't get his wife's pussy wet is an anomaly to him, or the facts that pussies get wet in general is an anomaly to him. So anyway, not to get political about it, because I'm not a lefty either. I want to make that clear. The fact that I'm bitching about right-wingers right now, I don't want to say that I'm a fucking lefty either, but it is what it is. We're not going to delve into politics. We're talking about hip-hop and how I got into some of the newer stuff. So there is a little bit of politics in there. So back to Wu-Tang Clan. Their first album, 36 Chambers, is by far my favorite. I would say, you know what? Wu-Tang Forever is actually more of a favorite of mine. There are more good songs on their first album, but the best ones are on Wu-Tang Forever. Triumph is fucking amazing. My favorite rapper probably would be Method Man, even though I would say the RZA and the Jizza have better skills. I like the music and of Method's albums better, so I prefer those. But they're all talented. Old Dirty is fantastic too. He's hilarious. I would say he's probably the comedian of the bunch. Gone too soon, unfortunately. And Raekwon and Ghostface are a great duo. When they, you know, you can tell, like, when they collaborate a lot together, it seems to me like they're best friends. I honestly don't know. It just seems to me like that, because when Raekwon comes out with an album, it's almost like a duo album, and flip to Ghost as well. So like they're a lot on each other's albums. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it just seems to me like that's it, like they seem to be doing stuff together a lot, kind of like Method and Redman, who is not part of the Wu-Tang Clan, in case you didn't know. You know, they collaborate a lot as well. Back in the day, I honestly don't know nowadays. Lately, all we listen to a lot now is Eminem, Killer Mike, Run the Jewels a lot, so yeah, so buy this hat. It's fucking adorable. Boop. Hopefully you didn't see my baldness there. I am losing my hair a bit, but it is what it is. So yeah, so how long has it been now? I have no idea. Oh shit, look at that. 20 fucking minutes. The longest one by far. So I think we'll wrap it up with that. That's about the size of a big house. Peace.